Good morning. I'm just out the front chilling with Laura here and Gypsy out the back there. It's another beautiful day. I've got a very interesting and important and serious topic to discuss today. I was just watching some videos from the other boys, and yeah, I just have a few things that I wanted to just talk about, which is in relation to some topics that they were discussing, mostly around just difficulty with depression, and I think Fitz also talked about boredom and feeling emotions. So I had a few things I wanted to add, just have my own thoughts. First of all, I've got a carrot and part of an apple here. I thought I'd give Gypsy a little bit of something. See if she comes over. Gypsy! 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 Come on, Gypsy! You want it? I know you want it. Yep, she's excited. Look at how she's running. No, not for you. Not for you. It's another windy day today. See some of the cows at the back there. Here's a little something to brighten up your day. Should have done this afterwards. I'm gonna discuss a very serious topic. Well, there we go. That's all. That's all for now. Enough. All right. So, I just wanted to share my thoughts on depression. Share a bit of my experience. It's a bit of a tricky subject to talk about, to be honest. I mean, I've dealt with some serious depression in the past. I've had several, one or two times in my life where I got to the point of being borderline suicidal. There were two times where I hit rock bottom. One was back in 2019, and one was like 2 years later, 2021. I was at very similar points then, in the middle of addiction and just having a sense that there was nothing here for me. Because for me, like my definition of depression is a bit different to what some other people might say. So it's like, I understand there's different types of depression and all that. I'm not trying to say that I know it. I understand it in and out. I'm not a psychologist by any means, but like, for me, depression is characterized by having a sense that not being able to envision a future for myself. That's really what my whole definition of depression is. My definition of depression is not being able to envision a future for myself. And if I think back to all the times when I was depressed, when I was borderline suicidal, I mean, why was I at the point where I wanted to take my own life? Well, it was because I couldn't envision a future for myself. I felt that there was nothing here for me, nothing that would drive me forward, nothing to give me a sense of purpose or direction in life. So that's really what my definition of depression is. And it might be similar to yours, it might be a bit different, but that's my thoughts on that. And I wanted to talk also about boredom. Fitzgerald was talking a lot about that in his video, and how that with all of our, all these, in our modern society, with all these, distractions everywhere, it's virtually impossible to get to that space of, feeling bored. And I totally agree with that. The thing I wanted to add with boredom is, I think boredom is really a very modern concept. Like, I think if you were to go back in time, before the internet and modern technology and all of this stuff that we have today, I don't think boredom would really even have existed. Like, just think about it. Like, go back to prehistoric times, you don't even have to do that. Like, let's say nowadays, if you were, I think if you were to go and visit, you know, like a uncontacted tribe living in the jungle somewhere, and you were to try to explain to them, you know, the modern day concept of boredom, I don't think they would understand it. Because if you live a life like how they would live, you know, they would live a life, you know, connected to the land, connected to each other, connected to nature, doing what they have to do every single day, present in the moment, living life. Like, every single day fills them with purpose. I'm not trying to just say that, you know, like, that sort of life is easy or it's all sunshine and rainbows. No, but like, still, like, if you go back in time far enough, you know, that's where, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you go back far enough, you know, that's how it was everywhere back in prehistoric times. That's all of our ancestors. Doesn't matter where you are, all our ancestors were like that, used to live in a similar way. There might be some differences in terms of certain tribal customs or, you know, beliefs and all of that, but like, it all stems from, ultimately we all stem from the same. We're all human, we all have, our essence is all the same, even though we may look different or we may have different religious or cultural beliefs. We're all the same at the end of the day. So yeah, boredom, getting back to the topic, I'm going a bit off track. Boredom is, you know, I don't believe boredom exists. I've been thinking about this for the past years. I don't believe it truly exists. If you put a human and allow them to live a natural life where they're connected to the land, where they're living in, you know, a tribe, a community. We're meant to be tribal. We're meant to be living in communities, small communities, not like big cities like how we live in now, just small tribes, small communities. And it's like, when I say tribal, you know, there'll be people watching this who they'll create all these negative connotations, but like, no, like, that's really how we are, you know. It's like, look at any other you know, animal species, look at any other primates, you know. We're primates at the end of the day. Like, look at chimpanzees. It's like, it's all based on, you know, tribes, and it's like, at the end of the day, we're not meant to live alone. We're really not. Like, we're meant to have community. We're meant to be there for each other. We're meant to support each other through the good times and through the bad times. And that's not to say you can't spend time alone. You most certainly can. I spend most of my time alone. But, you know, our modern society has gotten so many things wrong, so many things backwards. And yeah, boredom is really, I see it as it's a modern concept. It's like, because you get used to such constantly being stimulated, we get used to constantly having something that's taking our attention. When we get to the point where we finally do sit down, where we finally do just sit still and do absolutely nothing, then of course, you know, all the emotions that we've been stuffing down, everything we've been running away from, all those feelings, they'll come up at once. You know, emotions are meant to be felt. They're meant to give us insight, meant to drive us to action. It's like, you know, if you're angry, like, I mean, anger is always seen as a bad, is viewed as a negative emotion, but you know, anger can be a very powerful motivating force. Like, if someone does something to piss you off, like, you can use that anger to, let's just say, you know, go and like crush a workout, and that will really empower you in the long run. So the emotions, positive and negative, they can drive you towards really taking action towards, you know, building up your perfect life. So emotions are meant to be felt, you know, right then and there in the moment. And it's like, yeah, once you've channeled those emotions, once you've felt those emotions, it's like, yeah, then they're gone. But with addiction, with distraction, you can essentially hijack that process of consistently stuffing emotions down. And just think, like, you can, if you're constantly overloading your dopamine system, if you're constantly overstimulating yourself, you know, those emotions will keep them being stuffed further down and further down, and eventually you'll reach a tipping point where it'll be too much. They'll all come up where you might like realize that you need to overcome you need to overcome addiction. You want to get back to living a much more joyous and fulfilling life filled with purpose. So then when you do try to overcome addiction, all those emotions, all those feelings will come up. And I think saying, oh, you know, I'm just bored, I think that's just an excuse. I think boredom doesn't really exist. It just comes up when it's like you're sitting by yourself. You're not engaging any of those addictive behaviors. You're giving your mind a chance to get back to the present moment. Then of course I think boredom is essentially just the mind's way of gaslighting us out of those feelings, because yeah, feelings are meant to be felt and then meant to drive us to action. But if we just get out of those feelings, talk ourselves out of those feelings, and get to that stage where we distract ourselves more, I think, yeah, it's not going to end well. Anyway, I'm sort of getting a bit off track here. I don't know if I'm being entirely clear. I hope I am. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on, yeah, just depression. Bit of my experience, and yeah, my thoughts on boredom. I don't believe it really exists. It's just a made-up concept in our modern day fast-paced society. And what's the key to overcoming boredom and depression? Well, I think with depression, so my definition is not being able to envision a future for yourself. Well, how do you envision a future? Well, first of all, for that you need a vision. So I think you really need to understand what is it that you actually want out of life. And when I say what do you want, I don't mean like, oh, I want to earn a lot of money, I want a fancy car, I want a bigger house. Like, no, those are all superficial materialistic things. Like this, it needs to be something deep. What is it you actually want? Like, what gives you joy and fulfillment? So you need to build a vision, and once you get that vision going, like once you have a vision, you can then envision a future for yourself. You have something to work towards, you have something that gives you purpose and drives you forward. I think if you're in that state, you can really weather anyhow. Like, there's a quote out there which I don't remember exactly where it's from, but it's like it's something along the line, don't quote me on this, but it's like something along the lines of he who has a why to live can endure anyhow, something like that. So it's like, if you have a purpose, it doesn't matter how hard it gets, but you can weather any storm, you can get through anyhow. The how doesn't matter. It's like, if you have a why, everything else will fall in place. So depression really is a space where you have no purpose, and it's like, bro, I struggle with the same thing. I'm not sitting here claiming that I have it all figured out. I don't. These are just some insights that I have from my own experience, but man, I haven't figured it all out. I have my good times, my bad times. It's like a change of season. It's like, there'll be good seasons, there'll be bad seasons, and I've dealt with shit like this in the past. But like, honestly, I've gotten to the stage now in my life where I haven't really felt depressed for quite a while. I mean, I've said occasionally, I feel depressed and all that, but what I really mean is, like, I felt sad, I felt anxious, I felt all of that. But honestly, it's been a bit of a while since I actually would say that I genuinely felt depressed, because I've gotten to the stage in my life where I'm starting to really see more and more, what is the life that I want to live. I'm able to really start envisioning it. I mean, my life has changed a lot. It is continuing to change. I'm not perfect, I don't have it all figured out, but I know I'm on the right path. I know I'm heading in a positive direction. I feel ready and empowered for what's to come. And yeah, that's all I really have to say for today. Anyway, I'm rambling. Keep raising your standards, keep moving forward. Don't listen to the negative thoughts that you may have. Just believe in yourself, keep moving forward. Be a warrior, not a victim. Memento mori. Ciao.